Hi folks, Dr. Jim Gishwin here, PhD. Yeah, Doctor of Common Sense. Okay? Well, the media is trying to do it to you again. The media, of course, is on Harris's side. They're trying to brainwash you, propaganda, the communist style. They are the organ of the DNC, and the DNC is also the organ of the United States government. Okay, so what you have here is two communists running for government, and you got to stop them. You know, fighting communism my whole life, I could not believe it that Barack Obama had assigned someone as director of the CIA that had actually voted communist. Brennan. Pickle-face Brennan. This is unbelievable, folks. How did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? At least we got Bobby Kennedy exposing all of the corruption. We got Tulsi Gabbard now that come over. We got Elon Musk, a champion of free speech, and he's fighting it in Brazil right now too. So he's trying to fight free speech worldwide. You guys got to remember, and I saw a good congressman come on today that was a Democrat that was talking a lot of common sense. So he's for Donald Trump too. These people are escaping left and right. It's like Escape from New York with the Democratic Party. The black support for Trump is almost up to 30%. So they've lost about a good 30% since the 60s. You got to remember, before John F. Kennedy, most Republicans voted Republican. I mean, most blacks voted Republican. Because of Lincoln, because of the KKK, because of the Jim Crow laws, all Democratic, agendas. And after that, they just kind of did it by habit. And now they're all sitting there realizing common sense that these Democrats, like Hillary Clinton, would go in there, pull a bottle of Tabasco sauce out. Boy, I tell you, that is stupid. And sit there and promise them everything and then walk away until the next election. Donald Trump's the only one who's ever committed to the black population and followed through with his promises. He put zones in the inner cities, capitalization zones, re-energizing zones. He gave full money and full funding to the historically black colleges that used to have to come and beg every year for the stuff. He did prison reform, which reversed Joe Biden's 1995 locking them all up. And don't forget, Harris's nickname in San Francisco is Kamala, lock up her brother, Harris. Because she used to cackle in the back of the courtroom whenever she got one. And she didn't really get that many convictions. But she locked up a lot of them for small stuff like grass. As far as murder convictions go, she wasn't very good at it. All right? So she destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Just go out there and look. She's got a running mate that has already destroyed Minnesota and is almost a province of Red China. He's allowed a Red Chinese daggone police station in the middle of Minneapolis, for God's sake, to police their people. Well, they're probably policing other people, too. Anyway, he was talking common sense, this congressman was. Forget his name. Love to know his name. He was sitting there saying, remember, over half of the world's population live in totalitarian governments. And more of them don't have governments the same as we do. They have semi-totalitarian. In other words, they're calling themselves democratic, but they ain't really. All right? He made an example. He said, well, the Vietnamese now could be our friends, could be our allies against Red China. He's probably right about that. He says, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But there's many of them we can have relationships with by using common sense. Okay? They don't have to totally agree with them, and we don't have to sit there and push our form of government on everybody. We can do it by example. That made a lot of common sense to me. And so did Bobby Kennedy's speech about 70% of the American children today could not get into the American military because they're so disabled. Diabetes, you name it. So, we have to make America healthy again, folks, besides strong again, and besides making common sense again. We have to make America making common sense again. We cannot allow these communist people to get in there. This will be the end of our country. I told you before, I warned you. I said, most countries, great countries, last 300, 350 years. We're on the tail end of it. We can't lose it. We are not a democracy, never have been. So don't sit there and start throwing that word democracy around like the Democrats do. We are a representative constitutional republic. And when they came out of the Constitutional Convention, they asked Ben Franklin, what kind of government do we have, sir? And he said, a republic if you can keep it. And of course, Ronald Reagan was the one that said, we're only one generation away from losing our freedoms. You always have to fight for your freedoms, folks. This is the time. This is the time. I still have that feeling, that bad feeling in my gut, that no matter who wins, there's going to be armed conflict. I don't think the group that's in power now, the oligarchs, the power elite, will graciously let go of power. I do not think that will happen. Okay? I think they'll have to be pulled out of there. That's just my thought. I'm not encouraging it. Okay? I don't encourage things like civil war. But fascism has to be beaten back. We have marriage of industry and fascism. Now Google is sitting there doing campaign interference. Same thing that Zuckerberg just admitted to in Congress with his letter, that he was pressured by the White House to sit there and keep that Hunter Biden laptop thing out of the news just prior to the last election. That would have swung it. 17% of Democrats said if they would have known about that, their vote would have been different. So people are trying everything in the book. They want to sit there and register the illegals. Don't let them don't let it happen, folks. Okay? American citizens vote. American citizens vote. That's you and me. Okay? Now, I'm a constitutionalist, and I pray to God there's no conflict. It's just that we have never been so divided as we were from 1859, just before the Civil War. There was no halfway point. There was no negotiation. There was no median point. There were people on this side and there was people on that side, and it divided families just like my family's divided. Okay. So, understand, we do not need that again. And I pray to God it doesn't happen. And I'm not encouraging it to happen, that's for sure. Anyway, get out there and vote. God bless America. And remember, Trump's assembling a great team. Let's let him in there. Elon Musk, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Kelsey Gabbard, they're going to be vetting the new people. Last time, he sat there and didn't know who to put into all these various offices he had to appoint to. And he was getting instructions and advice from the wrong people. And these people turned on him. And it ruined his presidency, even though he got a lot accomplished, despite them. So he's a doer, not just a talker. So let's pray for him. They'll try and assassinate him again. Let's pray for him and pray for our president that he does the right thing in the next 3 months, 4 months. It doesn't get us into World War III, because we're heading there. God bless America. God bless you guys. And I remain your humble servant. Kind of despondent, too.